All right, welcome to Fahrenheit 451, the Sieve in the Sand, preview 2. All right, and this is where Montag is going to start to snap a little bit. All right, after everything he's been told by Faber, he's going to come home to find his wife and her friends getting ready to have a TV party with their martinis and to just surround themselves with noise and sound. You'll also get to actually see what it looks like on TV. There's a nice description of the show they're watching, which is quite alien to him, maybe familiar to some of us with our modern TVs. It's another area where there's some interesting predicting going on. But at any rate, in the remainder of this section, which really focuses on this explosive situation with her friends, you're going to learn a lot about society, a lot about what's going on, and a lot about the people in it and how they're broken. And I'll sort of parse out the specifics you should be looking for. So when he gets home, one of the things that he's going to do is unplug that television. You want to upset Millie and her friends? It's a great way to do it. Pull the plug, they flip out. So when you look at that, he pulls out the plug. Look at the questions he asks them. Track the questions throughout his conversation with these women, because they're not just straightforward questions. Some of them he already knows the answer to. So why ask? What is he trying to provoke in these women? What is he trying to get them to say or feel? All right? And in the course of this, we're going to learn a lot about family relationships through some of what he asks. We've already heard from Clarice about what school is like, and Beatty told us some about how they get the kids right after they're born, basically, right out of the cradle and into the school system to teach them to move fast and to be self-centered and all. We're going to hear more from these ladies about their relationships with their husbands and their children. And take careful note of this stuff. Look for what's disposable. Look for areas where they treat people like objects or people are compared to things. That's part of the whole materialism message. All right? The other thing to look at is references to fire and to destruction. The women are connected to fire on several occasions, and it makes sense. All right? And looking at the woman, Montag is going to remember something from when he was younger. All right? His memories are always important. They usually connect on some symbolic way with what's going on. He has a memory of being in a church full of statues and try to connect it to what he sees in front of him. Right? What are the women in his memory? What do they become in that church? And what is the church itself? If in the memory he's standing in a church, where's the quote-unquote church in this scene? And where is the God? And I will tell you the God is present. If you read carefully, you will see where the God is. All right? It is deeply symbolic, but the God is there. And it makes sense. All right? It's all going to build to him taking out a book, which is a huge no-no. There's a passage he reads. When you get to that passage, it's from a piece called Dover Beach. Read it out loud and read it the way you're supposed to read poetry. That means you only pause where there's punctuation. Don't stop at the end of every line. Try to get a feel for what's going on in it and why the author, why Bradbury, chose to have that piece be read out loud. And once you do that, why does the piece affect the women the way that it does? One in particular is a mess. And by page 98, he goes into this nasty rant. All right? What's his main point in it? And look at the repetition. Look at what he says again and again and again. That ties in with the main thing, one of the big things that is wrong in this society. All right? It's a mess. and he hammers on one of the points for what he wants these women to do. All right? And that's going to lead you to the sort of end of the scene where he is going to walk out of there. He'll go back to the firehouse and watch for references to hands when he's in the firehouse. And Beatty is going to say, he's going to relay a dream, a strange dream he had. Why is he telling Montag this? What are the details in the dream about? What is he telling Montag? And more importantly, the details in the dream. What do they tell us about Beatty? What does Beatty spend his spare time doing if he's able to bring up all these details that he brings up? And what doesn't he do, apparently, when you compare him to others in society? All right? This section will end with them heading to another firehouse job, and it will leave you with a question. Who turned in the alarm? All right? So I've given you a lot to play around with in this section. Read it very carefully, and there are some passages that you really should read twice. It may help to listen to them in the audio and use that to help you through. Per usual, if you have questions, put them in the discussion reflection. You can share them in our discussion area or the survey, and of course come into class ready to share your ideas with the class. All right, good luck, and I will see you soon.